The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care, and peace of mind through it all. Because Blue is here for you.
Welcome to the Made in Iowa podcast presented by Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I am recording from the Orbit Center in Osceola, and you get the opportunity to meet Amy Starlin, who is with Paul Mueller, one of Iowa's greatest kept secrets. I hope you enjoy this interview as much as I did. Super excited to be on the road today in Clark County. We are broadcasting from the gorgeous Orbit Center, which is a public-private partnership with Clark County Development Corporation and Southwest Iowa Community College. And you are Amy Starlin, and you're with Paul Mueller, and you use this facility, correct?
Yes.
Take advantage of it?
Yes, we have. First of all, it's great to be here. Thanks for this opportunity, Lisa, to come talk about Clark County, the great things happening with our company. Yes, we have utilized the Orbit Center for training with our coworkers, and lots of great feedback and lots of asking for more from our team.
And I took the little tour when I first started, and it looks like we're just getting started. The Orbit Center launched in August, and so the future is so bright. I want to introduce the audience to a company I knew very little about until we had our conversation earlier this week. Tell me about Paul Mueller, what you build, and your roots here in Southern Iowa.
So Paul Mueller Company is a stainless steel manufacturer company that we are located in Osceola, Iowa. Our company headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. We acquired this location in Osceola in 1987. We bought an existing tank manufacturing facility.
What was that company called?
That was called Babson Brothers.
Babson Brothers, okay.
And so Paul Mueller was looking to expand, and this made sense. We bought a business that was already set up in the tank manufacturing, so there was equipment there that we needed. The workforce was already performing some of the tasks and had the skills that we needed, and it made sense to diversify to a different location. And this is a great location, sitting right on the I-35, I-34 corridor, in the heart of the Midwest. At the time, dairy farms were very prevalent in northern Iowa, Wisconsin. So shipping, logistically, it just made sense for the company.
And you've got 3 locations today. Talk about your third location.
The third location is in the Netherlands. So that's very exciting to be a global company. In the Netherlands, they also make milk coolers. So their process is a little bit different than ours, but same concept. Milk coolers to go in the dairy industry.
What I love about the Paul Mueller story is the innovation and adjacent products that you've created. It can always be dicey when you don't diversify yourself and you're just serving one industry. You have taken your technology and used it across many industries now. Talk about that innovation and what that's led to.
So as we talked about, we started in Osceola. It was primarily a tank, making milk tanks to dairy industry. We now produce products for refrigeration products. We produce heat transfer templates. In Springfield, we have products that serve the food and beverage industry, the life sciences industry, what we call, maybe more familiar with pharmaceuticals. So we've really diversified those. In the process of the milk coolers, in the late 70s, the advancement of the template heat transfer technology led to a product that we call the free heater. So the free heater is essentially a large hot water heater for industry. So,
and it recaptures heat from the process,
it captures heat from the dairy process is what it started as, capturing the heat from the dairy process to allow the dairy farms to use this piece of equipment to heat water to clean their facilities, which is why we called it a free heater. Since then, that product has expanded into large supermarket chains. They're pulling the heat off of the freezer and refrigeration systems, and they're using it to heat water for other processes within those buildings. So most Sam's Clubs, Costco's, Publix grocery is a large customer in the South. Most of them will have 2 to 3 of these free heater units in them.
So what percentage, and if you don't know the answer to this, by the way, you are the HR director. So I've never...
I'm the HR manager.
HR manager, and you are so passionate and informed about the products. I'm super impressed with that. What I'd like to do right now, we've got some of your products sitting with us. Tell us, for example, what this is.
So we make what's called a condensing unit. That's what we use to chill the milk. And so this is what runs the condensing units here.
Okay.
This box here. And then this down here is the HiPerform Plus box. So this is what we call the brains of a tank. This is what's going to run the tank.
Okay.
And these can attach right to the tank, or they can attach off to the side to be ran independently.
My gosh. And this little guy?
This is what we call a CardioQuip panel. So this is used in equipment in the health industry.
Okay.
So very exciting. I'm going to step back a minute, and you said it's great. I have a passion for my company. I do have a passion for the company. I do have a passion for the products we make, and I'm very lucky to work for a company that feels like HR is a very valuable player in the game.
Right.
We are strategic, and they respect that. So that's exciting. Not all companies would give me the opportunity to learn so much about our products.
The other thing that we realized during our preliminary conversation was you are an open books company.
Yes, we practice open book management.
And I am a huge Jack Stack and The Great Game of Business fan. Explain briefly what Open Books does and how it allows everyone in the organization to take ownership in the financials and the performance of the company.
So open book management, basically we're sharing a high-level overview of our income statement with our entire team. We have weekly meetings with each business group within our plant or department, and they meet and we talk about what's our forecasted revenue, what's our forecasted sales, what does our actual revenue for a month look like, what does our actual sales for the month look like. To me, a big one is what does your backlog look like? Because the backlog tells you what your workload looks like. And that's kind of a security for our teammates. Oh, we have a high backlog. We can see we're busy for the next 6 months. We talk about expenses that are out there, cost of inventory, inventory adjustments, burden incurred, burden absorbed. We also track on-time completion. And during these meetings, we walk through at high level. This is what it looks like. And if there is huge swings from one week to the other, or at the end of the month when we wrap up, there's a large discrepancy, we talk through those. And we empower our teammates to report some of those numbers. So we have teammates off the floor that are reporting numbers on how many of these items were produced this week, how many, what was our on-time completion for shipments, etc. So we're trying to bring them into the fold to help talk about this stuff. So there's really no secrets.
Compare that transparency that you have at Paul Mueller to other organizations you've worked for and the impact that makes.
In other organizations I've worked for, there was no transparency. There was no idea where you stood, what things looked like, where the company was headed, if you were financially stable, none of that. And that is such a comforting feeling in an organization to look at that and know, here's where we're at and here's where we're going.
Awesome.
And to look and have that look back and think, oh my, I remember what these numbers looked like 4 years ago. Wow, we have made progress.
And what that leads to is a culture of continuous improvement.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about the lean and efficiency techniques that you're using and how that impacts the finances of the company.
So our lean journey, we're pretty new into the lean journey, heavy, a couple years ago. We have an independent consultant that comes in, and we have to date sent 5 people from Iowa through that training. And so the idea is we're sending a couple people at a time, they bring it back, and we start implementing it in our plant, which is great. And it's little things that you can change. We're getting very heavy into 6S, you know.
So tell me what 6S, so I'm a 5S'er, so the 6th S is safety.
Yes,
I
6S
love
is
that.
safety, and we are a very highly focused on safety in our organization. We start every meeting we have, it does not matter who's sitting in that meeting, with a safety topic. We review safety track records every quarter. So part of that open book management with the weekly meetings we have, we call them huddles. We also have quarterly huddles where our president and COO and general manager come up and they address our entire team and they wrap up the quarter. What did our quarter look like?
Wow.
And where are we standing? And all this ties together. We have an incentive program. And so if we meet our production or our goals for the year, that ties into our incentive. So as a team, we can sit there and see, how are we doing? Are we working towards that incentive? What is our incentive percentage going to look like at the end of a year?
Wow. You have been at Paul Mueller how long?
Just shy of 4 years.
And in that time, what are some of the transformations that you've seen, either financially, transparency, safety, efficiency?
Oh boy, a lot. Thinking about that. The lean journey is a big one. We've implemented that. We are really striving towards becoming an efficient company, organization. How do we become more efficient? How do we make the processes simpler for our teammates? We're focused on capturing that knowledge from our tenured coworkers. We are becoming very heavily focused on educating our workforce and training our workforce. We have brought in our own training and development specialist in the company. Through that process, we've implemented what's called an arena training.
Talk about arena training.
So arena training is where we encourage coworkers, any coworker, to apply for this class, and it's a year-long class. They meet roughly 6 to 7 hours a month, and we have 6 people in the class this year, and they work on developing leadership skills. What's it like to be a leader, and steps to take, and kind of what do you think your career path looks like here?
One of the things that's obvious if you look at your products, there's a lot of welding involved.
Yes.
And you have unique welding that is done in your facility.
Yes.
And it's been a challenge for you to find those welders, correct?
That has been a challenge for us. We are primarily TIG welding with stainless steel food grade equipment. And prior to my starting, it was a struggle to find people that have the TIG welding skills. You know, we're in rural Southwest Iowa. It's MIG welding, it's stick welding. So about 7 or 8 years ago, the company implemented our own welding and grinding lab in each location. So in Osceola, we have our own welding and grinding school is what we call it. It meets 2 hours a day for 10 days. We pay our employees to come to it. We do it on the clock. We pay them to take this class. We have one individual who is solely dedicated to teaching these classes, and not only does he teach the classes, but he provides mentorship on the floor to these students. And we offer this class to anybody that wants to take it. Anybody.
Wow.
We don't care. If you want to learn this skill, we're going to put you through the class. We've had some great success stories through this. Those are probably my favorite stories. You know, we have a coworker come in, never touched a welder, didn't know what welding was like, and they go through the class, go through the process, and within a year or two they're welding. And we've had coworkers that come in and they may have some skills but not quite where we need it, take the class, and in 2 or 3 months they're a welder. We've had stories where they've never welded before, come in and take the class, and 6 months to a year they're fully welding independently.
And I would assume there's a significant pay bump.
There is a
for those
significant pay bump. Yes.
For those welders.
Yes, a significant pay bump. So that is a good incentive to build that skill. But we also understand that that's not where everybody wants to go, and that's great because we need people that do every kind of job. So while we are primarily TIG welding, I would say we have around 89 strictly production coworkers. About 50% of them are welders and grinders. But we have manufacturing operators, which would be our entry-level position in Paul Mueller. You know, these are people coming to us that have no manufacturing experience, maybe minimal work history. You know, we're bringing them in and they're basically being assistants to the welders, helping, stage product, maybe doing a little bit of tack welding here and there to try to build those skills. We also have machine operators that are running things like a 24-gun welder, Sayaki machines, polishers, those kind of machines. We also have machinists who are running our CNC tape machines, and then we have assembly techs, and our assembly techs work in our refrigeration product, and they focus heavily on wiring and assembling products. Some of them are also refrigerant certified, because we have some products that contain refrigerant, so you have to have people on site refrigerant certified.
And how do they get the certification?
They go to Springfield for testing.
Okay.
They go through classes and testing.
Gotcha.
And so we send them to our Springfield location, they go through the classes, they go through the testing, and then they become certified.
How many employees do you have here in Osceola?
In Osceola, we are at 111 now. We have 4 open positions. So that's grown to the historical data I've been given back in 2018, 2019, we were between 80 and 90 coworkers.
Gosh.
And then when I came on board the end of 2022, I think the highest number I saw was 128. And so we are back down to around 115 if we're fully staffed. I think the exciting piece to that is, in my time here when I started, we did not have any manufacturing engineers on site. We had 1 quality technician on site. We had 1 person that did some planning in our facility, 1 person that did some buying in our facility. And today we have 2 manufacturing engineers and 1 manufacturing engineer tech. We have 3 quality technicians. We have 3 coworkers that we call supply chain coordinators. So they're planning and buying for their specific business unit. Wow. We have brought on a supply chain manager. We have an inventory analyst. So I think that speaks volumes to the presence Osceola has within our company. And that's part of the continuous improvement journey. So prior, we mentioned we had 1 buyer, he bought some stuff. Now in Iowa, we are doing most of our buying. We are buying all of our steel for the Iowa plant in Iowa. It used to be somebody that sat in Springfield bought the steel. And so now we are doing that all ourselves. So we are, while we're working to become a very cohesive organization, we are becoming independent in some of our own functions.
And that is so good for the community, because you can source more locally. You can really build those relationships in Iowa where you couldn't before.
Yes.
So, and that speaks volumes to the respect and trust and credibility you have with headquarters in Springfield.
Yes, we're very lucky that they are allowing us to grow like this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would love to walk the listeners through a tour of your plant so that they can sort of envision the layout, how you assemble your products. Do you have lines? Do you have cells? Just kind of walk us through a tour of your plant.
So we're unique. When you think manufacturing, you think assembly line, things running off the line quick. We would have what I would call truly 1 assembly line in our plant. That is our tank line. We start at the south end of the building with raw sheets of steel. We roll it, we weld it, form it, and make the milk coolers out of it. It takes approximately 30 to 33 days to make a milk cooler.
I love that it's 33, approximately.
Yeah, depending on size and how things are going.
And talk about the size of the tanks.
So our tanks, we produce anywhere from 300 gallons, which that size is becoming more obsolete. We produced, I believe, 1 of those last year, up to 8,000 gallons in our Osceola location. Those are becoming the larger tanks.
8,000 gallons. Huge.
Yes. Huge, beautiful stainless steel tanks. They are a beautiful product, I'm not going to lie.
All right, so you've got 1 line, and then what happens from there?
So we have that one, that is our main line for the plant. We have our refrigeration products unit that I've talked about where our free heaters are. Free heaters kind of feels and looks like what a tank line would look like, kind of an assembly. You weld on the templates, you foam them, you inflate them, you put the skins on, etc. Other than that, the rest of the stuff in refrigeration products is kind of cell-like. We're building different products in different parts of it. So the tanks are basically a standard product. Where the difference comes in on it is how we finish them.
Okay.
What kind of control boxes are we putting on them, etc. The finishing pieces is where the differentiation comes from. But generally, it's the same process for every tank.
We talked a little bit about your competition.
Yes.
And you told a story about Jim. I would love for you, Simon Sinek wrote a book called The Infinite Game. And in The Infinite Game, he talked about the importance of a worthy rival. And the company, before it was acquired by Paul Mueller, I would say considered you guys a worthy rival. So talk about Jim.
Yes, they did. So as an organization, we do what's called stay interviews. We ask our employees, can we just have some time? Why do you stay here? What do you like? And I love these because it gives us a chance to talk to them one-on-one and tell their story. And Jim was with the company for 45 years. So he came to us with Babson. He came with our building.
Okay.
And I asked him, how did that feel? You were working for Babson, making tanks. And he says, oh yeah, we were making tanks. We were trying to figure this out. We weren't the best at it, but we were getting it figured out. And our goal was to make a tank to the quality standard of Paul Mueller Company, because Paul Mueller was known to be the industry leader in stainless steel milk tanks. He said, to the point that Babson bought a Paul Mueller milk tank and set by the door. So every day we walked in and out of the building, we had to look at a Paul Mueller tank and know that that is what the expectation was we were to get to. I said, wow, that's pretty extreme to get your quality. And I said, so Jim, what did you think when you heard Paul Mueller had bought Babson and you are now working for Paul Mueller? He says, I thought, oh, it's going to get real now, isn't it? And I love that story. Jim, you could feel the passion for our quality when he talked, and his desire to produce a good product. And that had just been instilled in him before he even became a Paul Mueller employee.
Because of that high level of quality, the lifespan of your products is extremely long.
Yes.
And you talked about, I said, how old are your products? Like, how long do they last? Talk about the woman up in Northwest Iowa.
We were in a community meeting and sat down to eat lunch with the presenter, and she asked the plant manager, what do you guys do? We're like, oh, we work for Paul Mueller. We make milk coolers. She's like, oh yeah, like in Casey's and Fairways. And I said, oh wait, no, like milk tanks for the dairy industry. So we put them into dairy farms. And she says, oh, I grew up on a dairy farm in Northeast Iowa. And we laughed and we said, oh, well, what kind of milk cooler do you have in your barn? And she says, I don't know, but we still have it in there. I'm going to go home and check. And within a few days, she sent us back pictures, and her grandfather and father had put in a Paul Mueller milk tank back in the 70s.
And it was still there
and she
operating.
Talked about, well, it was not an operation,
Okay.
It was still there. So we know it's built to last because it's still sitting there. But she talked about her grandfather and his hesitancy to go automated like that.
Wow. That also creates a need for a high level of service. Mm-hmm. Talk about how important customer service is at Paul Mueller and how you go above and beyond to service your clients.
It's very important. We have our own service department, and they are out in the field all the time working, trying to troubleshoot problems and ensuring our product is at a quality that our customers expect.
And sometimes they're so technical, you've had to actually fly someone from the production floor to the field.
We had an instance where we had a product that we make in Iowa. There was some issues with it. So we pulled a production employee that had worked on that product that we would call an expert doing that. And he went out to the field with the service tech and worked on that product for us.
That's crazy. Talk about the training that they go through to exceed expectations, both with their clients and with each other. How do you build trust within the organization and keep that continuous improvement mentality and enthusiasm within the workforce?
I would say, Lisa, I'm going to tie it all back to the open book management, the transparency, the communication that we have, the things that we share. We talk about things in those meetings, and people know where we're at and where we're standing. And so as an organization, we do that, but we also know it's somewhere we need to get better, and so that's what we strive for. Like, how do we communicate more and better, and what do they want to know? Not what do they need to know, what do they want to know?
One of the challenges with multi-facility companies is ensuring that that culture is consistent between those facilities. Talk about the communication with corporate and how they transfer knowledge, share resources, and really create that cohesive environment.
We do, and we have made great strides in that as well. Obviously, COVID, I think, upped the game in that. I mean, you know, as so many things negative may come out of COVID, but it really increased the use of Google Meet. Setting meetings that way, and when you do that, you can bring everyone into the mix. Another piece of that is we very rarely have a week in Iowa where we do not have somebody from Springfield on site. Whether it's our general manager, whether it's our training and development specialist is here. Right now we have R&D on site this week. It may be engineers coming up. It may be the gentleman that runs the welding and training program in Springfield. Also, you know, we've aligned him. So we're doing the same thing in both locations. It may be him coming up. It may be IT coming up to troubleshoot some things or to improve the technology in our building. So maybe our business unit manager coming up to see how the unit is going. And a great story on that is we had a huge project we were pushing out after the first of the year, and it was requiring quite a bit of overtime and Saturday work and our business unit manager over that department sits in Springfield, but he came up that week and he owned a Saturday with the team.
Wow.
He took that Saturday and he was in the plant with them. So that just speaks volumes to the team that we're building and the support we have from Springfield.
One of the other, I think, advantages to having multiple plants is when you've got peaks and valleys in production, do you ever share employees?
Yes. So last year we were pushing out a big project in Springfield and the call came, they needed help. Can we grab some people from Iowa to come help? I believe the initial request, we had 17 people that were willing to go to Springfield for a week at a time and stay down and work on that project.
Oh my gosh.
From Labor Day to Christmas, we were sending 4 to 5 team members from Iowa down to Springfield to help that project. And it's twofold. Like, it's great. I love that they're getting the opportunity to go to Springfield and see what life like is sitting there.
Right.
You know, that they get to learn more about the products. And I think it just shows that we're building a culture where everyone is working together to get to the bottom line, because we don't compete against each other's locations. We are one company. We are all working towards the same goal.
Talk about the 4 positions that you have open right now, and what are your hardest to fill positions other than TIG welders?
Right now we do have 3 welder grinder positions open, and we have an inventory control analyst position open.
Okay. Automation.
Automation, yes.
It is hard to automate when so many of your products are one-off. Mm-hmm. How much automation do you see within the plant, and what do you think the future looks like, not only with automated technology, but with AI and predictive opportunities there?
So automation and AI is always one of those trigger words in manufacturing. Right? They're gonna take my job. That's not what it's about. And so we're working hard to explain that it's not taking your job. We still need skilled workforce to run these. In Springfield, we have a cobot, welding cobot, that's down there.
Awesome.
Working through that. It's not taking your job. We still need to have someone that can run the machine, program the machine, understand what a good weld looks like, and maybe touch up a weld when it's done. So that's kind of the piece of it is, it's not eliminating our workforce, it's kind of shifting what we're looking for.
Well, and it increases capacity, right?
Yes.
So you can do more here in Iowa.
Yes.
One of the statistics that you shared was how many counties you're pulling from in Southwest Iowa.
Yes. So 50% of our workforce does come directly from Osceola.
Okay.
The rest of our workforce we pull from 28 counties. So we pull from 29 counties total, including Clark. And we have coworkers coming from Altoona, Indianola, Norwalk, St. Charles, Creston, Afton, Corydon, Sheridan, Leon.
My gosh.
Lamoni, Kellerton, Grand River. So we're not only making an impact in Clark County, we're making an impact in our surrounding counties. And that's pretty exciting too. We're providing for people all over Southwest Iowa.
Exactly. I drove in from Waukee today, and it was barely over 30 minutes from door to door. So the opportunity to recruit from Polk and Dallas have to be great as well.
Yes, yes. We pull maybe a lot of our our manufacturing engineers and plant facilities manager and those type of positions, we tend to pull more from Des Moines. I think we can pull our welders and grinders here because we do offer the training and we have resources outside of us locally, like the Orbit Center and Southwestern, to train our employees.
How do you ensure that you're staying competitive with your wages, yet again, maintaining profit levels? What does that look like for you guys?
As an organization, we have done a tremendous amount of work on wages. We go out and we do a wage comp analysis every year on every position, whether
Wow.
it's exempt, non-exempt, production. And we look at where are we sitting, where do we want to sit. You know, we want to be the leader. We want to be the leader in Southwest Iowa. We want to be the place where people want to work. We go out and we look at our benefits and how do we enhance those benefits. In that time, we have increased PTO, we've increased SFPTO, we've...
What's SFPTO?
Sick and family paid time off.
Got it, thank you.
Sorry. We've looked at bereavement leave. One other benefit we have that's pretty exciting, and our team boast about this, is as an organization, we still do a plant shutdown over Christmas. So
What?
we will shut down the 24th through, depending on where the day falls, the 2nd of January.
My gosh.
Now we cover some holidays and you can use PTO to cover other time, but we shut down. That's
awesome.
a time for everybody to disconnect, and that's pretty nice. And I think maybe sometimes you underestimate the power of that.
Oh, huge. And that's a downtime anyway. People that do work during that week.
Well, Lisa, I don't know. I don't know if we ever have downtime anymore. I'm going to challenge that. Used to be January, February, March were quiet, and wow, I don't know where the first quarter went.
No kidding.
No kidding. It's busy, but that's part of growing and innovative and the continuous improvement journey that we're on. We are always moving and growing and changing, because if you're not moving, growing, and changing, you're standing still. And that's not just changing your product line, that's changing your workforce, that's changing your culture, that's bringing people along. That's innovation and improving as well.
And that diversification
Yes.
eliminates those peak seasons because you're in so many different industries now.
Yes.
Amy, it is absolutely great to meet you. I cannot wait to hear about the success that is coming for Paul Mueller. I would love to have you back anytime that you want to give us updates on new products or things that are happening within the Paul
Yes.
Mueller.
And I would love to invite you on site to see our facility, to see some of the products that we make. It's a great facility. I like to think of us as we're Clark County's best kept secret. A lot of people don't know we exist, but we are here and we are making a statement, and people are going to know where we stand in Clark County.
I love it. And hopefully this will help a little bit getting the word out.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. It's great. It's been great. I've enjoyed getting to visit with you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Made in Iowa. Subscribe, like, and share wherever you listen. Catch episodes weekly from the Iowa Everywhere studio on the BPC streaming network.